My name is Ethan. I'm 28 years old, and I'm not entirely sure who I spent yesterday with. It started like any other quiet morning. I had just made my coffee, plain black, and was scrolling through the same three apps like I always do when I heard a knock at the door. It was Ellie. She was early, unexpected, and smiling. "Hey," she said. "My meeting got canceled. I just wanted to be with you today." She held up two coffees, one plain, one with almond milk. Her favorite. She knew I'd forgotten to restock the fridge. She always remembered the little things. She stepped in, wrapped her arms around me. I could feel her heartbeat, slow and steady. Her skin was cold, but I figured she'd been outside. Her hair smelled like her usual lavender shampoo. Her eyes, soft, familiar, a little tired. She looked like Ellie. We didn't make plans. We didn't need to. We just existed together in that quiet domestic rhythm we'd built over 2 years of long-distance weekends. She told me she wanted the day to be just ours. No distractions, no work, no phones. I smiled and agreed. It felt real. More real than usual, in fact. We took a walk in a nearby park. The weather was oddly warm for October. The leaves glowed golden in the light, and her hand stayed clasped in mine the entire time. We didn't say much. We didn't have to. She just looked at me often, with those deep brown eyes, as if she was trying to memorize every part of me. When we got back, we ate pizza from a box, sitting on the hood of my car like teenagers, then curled up under a thick plaid blanket to binge-watch one of those true crime docuseries she liked. It was by all accounts the perfect day. But now, I don't know who I spent it with. Because Ellie just called me. From another city. From Chicago. And she asked why I'd been ignoring her calls all day. I was still on the couch when the phone rang. The blanket we shared was still warm. Her scent, that soft lavender, still lingered in the folds. I remember reaching for the phone absent-mindedly, thinking maybe she'd forgotten something, maybe she wanted to come back. Caller ID. Ellie's speech balloon. I smiled. "Hey," I answered. "Did you forget something?" There was a long pause. Then her voice, the real Ellie's voice, cut through the line. Tired. Frustrated. "Ethan, why haven't you answered me all day?" My stomach dropped. "What do you mean?" I said slowly. "You were just here." Another pause. I could hear traffic, people talking faintly in the background. A distant echo, like she was in a hallway. "What?" she said. "I've been in Chicago. The conference just ended. I've been trying to call you since morning. You haven't answered a single text." I stood up, looked around the room, as if expecting to see her again, curled up in the blanket, smiling that quiet smile of hers. Nothing. The couch was empty. The room cold. "You didn't come today?" I asked. She was silent. Then, "Ethan, what the hell are you talking about? I haven't seen you in over a week. I told you I'd be out of town until Sunday." I couldn't breathe. My hands started to shake. "You brought me coffee," I whispered. "Almond milk. Your favorite." She exhaled sharply. "Ethan, listen to me. I've been in meetings all day. I just left the hotel. I swear to God, I never came to your apartment." I looked at the coffee table. Two empty cups. One black. One almond milk. Still warm. I rushed to my phone's call history. Nothing. No missed calls. No texts. No FaceTime. No proof. Like I'd been offline the entire day. I pulled up the security feed from my front door cam. Nothing. No one came in. No one left. But I remembered her. Every moment. I remembered the way her fingers laced with mine. The way she leaned into me during the documentary. The way she tilted her head when I made her laugh. And now the voice in my ear was telling me she hadn't even been in the same state. I ended the call with Ellie, real Ellie, with a dry throat and a pounding in my ears. My apartment suddenly felt wrong, like something had shifted in the walls and the floor beneath my feet. Like the air itself didn't want me there anymore. But I had to prove I wasn't going insane, because I remembered everything. Every second, the weight of her body leaning against mine. The warmth of her breath on my neck when she laughed. The way she said, "I wish we could freeze this day." How could that not have happened? I walked to the kitchen, needing something, anything, tangible. And there it was. Two coffee cups, still sitting where we left them. I picked up hers, almond milk. The rim still had a faint stain of her lip gloss. That soft berry shade she always wore. The cup was lukewarm, as if only recently abandoned. I opened the trash. Inside, pizza crust, napkins, a receipt from Angelo's. Time-stamped 1:47 p.m. We went there. I remember the girl at the counter joking about our matching flannels. I opened the fridge. Her energy drink, unopened. She always brought one when she stayed. I turned, slowly, toward the living room. And then I saw it. Her scarf, draped neatly over the back of the chair. Plaid, red and black. The one she wore last fall when we went apple picking. I picked it up. It was still warm, and it smelled like her. Lavender and rain. I stood there, clutching it, my heartbeat loud in my ears. If Ellie was in Chicago, then who the hell had I spent the entire day with? I sat down on the couch, scarf still in my lap. Every memory was still vivid in my mind. Her voice, her laughter, her touch. Had I dreamed it all? Hallucinated? I turned on the TV to distract myself, but the remote wasn't where I left it. It was placed perfectly in the center of the table, parallel to the edge. Ellie, or whatever it was, must have done that. She always aligned things. Said it made the space feel calmer. I felt like I was losing my grip on reality. Everything pointed to her being there. Everything, except the one thing that mattered. Her. I barely noticed when night fell. The windows grew black. The room dimmed, and I hadn't turned on any lights. That's when I heard it. A soft creak from the hallway. Then slow, deliberate footsteps, one after another, and they were coming closer. The footsteps stopped just outside my bedroom door. I didn't move. I didn't breathe. I just sat there, frozen on the couch, holding her scarf in my hands like it could protect me. I wanted to believe it was the building settling, or maybe my neighbors upstairs. But no, the sounds were inside my apartment. Then came another noise, a soft, dragging whisper across the hardwood floor, like fabric trailing or bare feet sliding gently as they walked, followed by scratching, slow, sharp, deliberate. I stood, every muscle in my body clenched tight. I crept toward the hallway, barely breathing. There was nothing there, just the dim outline of the closed bathroom door at the end. The door I'd shut hours earlier. It was open now, just a sliver, enough to show the faint glint of the mirror inside. I stepped closer. The air felt colder with each footstep, thicker, like I was walking through something unseen. My fingers trembled as I reached for the bathroom light. Click! The bulb flickered, then held. Empty. Nothing inside, except the mirror, and in the corner of that mirror, the words, written in something smeared and dark. Not quite blood, not quite ink, almost shadow. It read, "You were with me. Now you're mine." I stumbled back. My heart was thundering. The scarf fell from my hand. I couldn't take my eyes off the message. It hadn't been there before. I was sure. There was no way to fake the terror clawing its way through my chest now. And then, the light flickered again, and for a split second, I saw her, standing behind me. Her reflection, just a little too tall, eyes too dark, smile too wide, head tilted at an angle that no human head should ever tilt. But when I turned around, nothing, just the air, just the silence. But the mirror still held her smile. I didn't sleep that night. I didn't even lie down. I sat on the floor of my living room with every light on, phone in hand, trying to make sense of it all. Every sound, every creak made my skin crawl. I kept checking the windows, kept checking the mirror, just in case she came back. At 6:03 a.m., I got in my car and drove 3 hours straight to Ellie. The real Ellie. I didn't care if she thought I was crazy. I needed to see her. I needed to touch her, the real her, and convince myself that I hadn't completely lost my mind. When she opened the door, she gasped. "Ethan, you look awful. Are you okay?" I couldn't answer. I just stepped inside, and then I tried to explain everything. But before I could finish, she interrupted me. Her voice low, quiet, eyes staring off at nothing. "Did you tell her?" "Tell who?" I asked. She blinked. Once, slowly, then whispered, "The one in the mirror. Did you tell you love her?" I stood completely still. Ellie hadn't moved. She just sat at the edge of her bed, staring at the wall. Her voice had shifted. It wasn't hers, not exactly. Too flat, too calm. The question hung in the air like a razor. "Did you tell her you loved her?" I felt a chill crawl up the back of my neck. "Ellie, what are you talking about?" Her eyes slowly turned to mine. Her face pale, but her gaze hollow. like she wasn't really looking at me, just through me. "The one who smiled at you," she said softly. "The one who watched you all day. She's been waiting." I couldn't respond. My tongue felt heavy. My heart slammed against my ribs. "You let her in," she continued, "and now she won't let you go." I tried to interrupt, to ask what she meant, but she suddenly blinked and jolted upright, like snapping out of a trance. "Wait, what?" she said, confused. "Sorry, I kind of spaced out. What were you saying?" I just stared at her. She didn't remember, or something inside her didn't want her to. We sat in silence for a while. I wanted to believe it was just sleep deprivation, stress, something explainable. But then I saw it. In a hallway, across from her room, hung a decorative mirror. And for a moment, in the soft flicker of the hallway light, I saw her again. Not Ellie, the other one. The same face, but wrong. Her eyes met mine. No emotion, no life. But she smiled. That same slow, twisted grin I saw in my bathroom mirror. Then the light flickered, and she was gone. That night, Ellie insisted I stay. She said I was too shaken to drive, that I needed sleep. She curled up beside me, warm and real. But I couldn't rest, because every time I closed my eyes, I saw her face. That impossible tilt of the head, those void-like eyes, and in the dark reflection of the window, she was always there, watching. At 3:22 a.m., I turned on a lamp and covered the mirror in the guest room with an old towel. I couldn't bear to see her again, but when I turned around to lie back down, there was a message on the glass of the bedroom window, written in breath. "You said you loved me." That made it real. Morning came, but it didn't feel like relief. The light through the curtains was pale and cold. Ellie was still sleeping next to me, curled up like a child, peaceful, unaware. I watched her chest rise and fall, desperate to believe this was normal. But in the pit of my stomach, I knew it wasn't. None of this was. I quietly stepped out of bed, walked to the living room, and turned on my phone. New notification. A motion alert from my apartment's hallway cam. Time, 2:44 a.m. While I was here, with Ellie, I opened the footage. The screen was black for a moment, then flickered into view. My apartment hallway, dim, silent. Then, she walked by, barefoot, wearing Ellie's scarf, dragging her fingers along the wall. She was still there, even when I wasn't. I drove back to my place, despite everything in my mind screaming not to. I didn't even tell Ellie I was leaving. She was still asleep, and I didn't want to see whatever might look back at me through her eyes. When I opened the door to my apartment, it was freezing, like someone had left every window open, but they were all closed. I moved cautiously through the space. Nothing seemed touched, except the mirrors. Every one of them, the bathroom, the hallway, even the glossy black screen of my TV, had faint fingerprints on them. Long, slow drags, as if someone had been reaching out from the other side. I stood in front of the bathroom mirror. The towel I'd placed there earlier was gone. Of course it was. I stared into the glass. Just my own tired reflection. But behind my shoulder, I saw movement. A hand, delicate, pale, reaching out. I turned. No one. But when I looked back at the mirror, a new message had formed, scratched into the fog. "You saw me. You chose me." I collapsed onto the couch, head in hands. Was I going mad? I opened my camera roll, desperate for proof, photos from yesterday. Something to show Ellie, or even just myself. But there was nothing. No photos. No videos. No timestamp. No trace. My phone had been offline the entire day. Almost like it wasn't allowed to remember her. And then, just before I set the phone down, it rang. Unknown number. I stared at it for too long. Then answered. A soft, familiar voice whispered, "She's forgetting you, Ethan." But I never will. Then silence. I checked the call log. No number. No record. Nothing. I didn't leave the apartment that day. Not because I didn't want to. I did. God, I wanted to. But I was afraid if I turned my back for even a moment, she would be in every reflection, in every sound, in everything. So I sat still. All day. No music. No screens. No mirrors. Just me, and the feeling that I wasn't alone. Because she was still here. Watching. Waiting. Around dusk, the apartment dimmed. The silence deepened. And then I heard the front door handle jiggle. Just once. Slowly. I didn't move. Not until I heard the whisper from behind me. Not in my ear, not out loud, but in the walls. She's forgetting you, Ethan. But I never will. I rushed into the kitchen, breathing fast. I opened the fridge. I don't even know why. Maybe to ground myself. Maybe just to do something real. That's when I saw it. A bottle of water, plain plastic, condensation dripping down the side. But on the label, written in Sharpie, the real one doesn't remember you. But I'll never forget. I dropped the bottle. It rolled across the floor and bumped into the edge of the cupboard. I backed away slowly, hands shaking. Everything around me felt tainted, like her presence soaked into the walls, into the furniture, into me. I tried texting Ellie, just something simple. Do you remember what we did on Saturday? She read it instantly, and then typed, and stopped, then finally sent. Didn't we cancel plans? You said you had a headache. That was the day we spent together. The day with the park. The pizza. The coffee. That day had been real. I lived it. I remember every second. But she didn't. She'd forgotten me. Or someone had made her forget. That night, I put sheets over every reflective surface. I turned my phone face down, sat on the floor with the lights on and the scarf clutched in my hands. I stared at the closet door across from me. The wood grain looked like a face. 2 eyes, hollow and dark. Then I realized they were eyes. She was watching through the reflection in the doorknob. I don't remember falling asleep, but I remember waking up, not in my bed. I was lying on the cold bathroom tiles, and the mirror above me had no reflection at all. I don't know how long I lay there on the bathroom floor. The air was damp and cold. The tiles pressed against my skin like ice. Above me, the mirror, still blank, still wrong. No reflection, no Ethan, just absence. I slowly stood, heart pounding, and waved a trembling hand in front of the mirror. Nothing. It didn't respond. No light bounced back. Like the glass was no longer a reflection, but a door. A door she was waiting behind. I stumbled out into the hallway, dizzy. The apartment felt smaller somehow, warped. Every sound echoed longer than it should have. The lights flickered, even though they were new. The windows no longer showed the street, just darkness. Not night. Something emptier. And behind me, in the television screen, black off, silent. I saw her, only for a second, but her face was pressed against the inside of the glass, like she was trying to push through, like the screen wasn't a screen anymore, like it was thin. She stared at me with longing, or hunger, maybe both. I tried calling Ellie again. This time, she picked up. Her voice was flat. Ethan, I need to ask you something. Anything. My voice cracked. She hesitated. Did we ever go to the lake? That place we talked about? Did we go last summer? I blinked. What? Of course we did. You wore that red dress, and... She cut me off. I don't remember it. I don't remember that at all. Silence. Then she whispered, I think something's taken my memories, and leaving something else behind. The call dropped, and the screen went black. But her voice didn't stop. I heard it again, faint, whispering from the inside of the screen. Not Ellie's voice. Hers. The one who spent the day with me. The one who watches me sleep. The one who knows me better than anyone else now. She whispered, You gave me a day. Now I want forever. I turned to the hallway. The bathroom door had swung open again on its own. Inside, the mirror was no longer empty. She stood inside it, but she wasn't just standing anymore. She was stepping forward, one pale leg, then the other. Her hands pressed against the surface. It rippled, like water, like she was crossing over. I didn't scream. There was no time for that. I just ran, out of the bathroom, down the hallway, slammed the door behind me, pressed my back against it like that could stop something no longer bound by rules or walls. Behind the door, the mirror cracked. Not shattered, cracked, like something had forced its way through but hadn't needed to break it. I tried to convince myself it hadn't happened, that I was dreaming, that my mind had fractured, that grief or loneliness or paranoia had sunk its claws in and dragged me under. But I looked around the apartment, at the messages on the windows, the handprints on the screen, the empty-eyed stare in every reflection that wasn't quite mine. And I knew this was real. I packed a bag in 5 minutes. Didn't even take my phone. Didn't even lock the door. I just drove 3 hours back to Ellie's apartment. The real Ellie. The only anchor I had left. She answered the door in a hoodie and socks, half asleep, confused. "Ethan? What the hell, are you okay?" I stepped inside without answering. I was shaking, couldn't meet her eyes, because I didn't know anymore if she was her. But then she hugged me, and I felt it warmth. Life. Real. "Talk to me," she said gently. "What's going on?" I told her everything, not just about the day, but the reflections, the messages, the voice on the phone, the mirror. I expected her to laugh, to tell me I needed sleep, or help, or both. But she just sat there, still, quiet, then said, "She was with me too." I froze. "What?" Ellie looked down at her hands. "After you left that night, I went into the bathroom, and in the mirror, I saw myself. But I wasn't moving. Not right. Not like me." She looked up at me, and her eyes were wet with fear. She asked me if I missed you. She asked me if I still loved you. And I said yes. And she smiled. The room went cold again. My breath turned sharp, like I was breathing ice. And then 3 knocks. Slow, heavy, hollow, on the hallway mirror. We both turned. The surface rippled, and a new message appeared in black, dripping letters. "The real one doesn't need you anymore." But I do. I stepped in front of Ellie, shielding her. But when I looked at her again, her expression had changed. Just slightly. A tilt of the head, a twitch of the lip. And in her eyes, I saw it. Not love, not fear, nothing. I knew then that I was lost. The Ellie beside me was real in body, but not in soul. Because somewhere, trapped behind glass, behind shadows, was the other Ellie, the one who had spent the day with me, the one who whispered in my ear, the one who never left. She had crossed over, and the real Ellie, she was fading. I grabbed every mirror in the apartment, every shiny surface, the screens, the glass frames, even the knife blades in the kitchen. I covered them all, smashed some, and hit others. I unplugged every device, wrapped the TV in blankets. But still, I felt her presence, watching, waiting. That night, I sat alone in the dark. The real Ellie had left. She didn't say goodbye, but on the bathroom mirror, the only mirror left uncovered, I saw her, the other Ellie, her smile wide, haunting, eyes like black holes pulling me in, and written beneath her in jagged letters, "You were with me. Now you're mine forever." I tried to leave, but the doors slammed shut. The windows wouldn't open. The walls seemed to close in. I'm trapped, with her, and I know she's watching this, reading my words. Because she's always here, always waiting, to cross over, to claim me. If you ever see someone you love, but they don't quite seem the same, watch their eyes, watch the mirrors, because sometimes the one standing right beside you isn't really them.